Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551. And I know it's been a while since I did a YouTube video and everything like that. Just a quick recap for those who did not catch up or anything. My old computer, broke down and everything like that, and I had which was an iMac, I think, for like 2017 or 2019, and I had to get a new iMac and everything like that, and it took about 2 weeks for it to come. I had to check certain things out just to make sure it worked fine and everything like that. So far it is working fine and everything. I'm not going to do a video review this week. I still want to iron out some things with my new computer just to make sure everything is up and everything like that. Same with streaming as well. I am going to try to finish off Ghostbusters the video game remastered. Maybe not this week, possibly next week or the week after. It just threw everything off though. So hopefully I could finish that off before I do like another stream, which I'm thinking about doing Star Wars The Force Unleashed for the Nintendo Switch and everything like that. But again, apologize if I haven't done any kind of like basically any situation right now with the computer and everything like that. So hopefully I can get everything organized as soon as possible. So I apologize for the long delay and everything like that at all. But anyway, moving on though, we got 4 stories to cover for this week, for the week of April 21st to the 27th, 2024, including an interesting rumor in terms of the Nintendo Switch, particularly from both the inside and the actual system itself. A interesting report came out that how Samus Aran almost was in Fortnite, but Nintendo had some issues about putting her in that game and everything like that. Reports about basically Watch Dogs might be dead at Ubisoft. And last but not least though, Ubisoft responds to some of the criticism and has split into 3 different companies and everything like that. If you're interested in where I got the source of these information, links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick my 2 cents. Stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details and everything like that. The first one has to do with a report coming out that Microsoft is closing down Bethesda France and everything like that. A lot of it has to do with a lot of restructuring. It is a little bit unfortunate because we've been seeing a lot of closure from a lot of studios and everything. So it is very, very unfortunate to see this happen though. Hopefully some of these employees are able to get new jobs and everything like that soon. Excuse me. We also learned that basically Atari will be reviving the Infogram brand. This was sort of basically a brand that produced several games, I think back in the 90s and the early 2000s, possibly, and all that stuff. So, but I do remember Atari buying them and everything. So it's certainly interesting to see them revive this, and also it'll be very interesting to see what games we see coming forward under the Infogrames brand and everything like that. We also learned that supposedly Fallout 76 has attracted over 1 million players in a single day, according to Bethesda. A lot of this has to do with basically the fact that the TV show Fallout on Amazon Prime, which I'm currently watching, seemed to have had a big impact on basically Fallout in general, as not only with this, but there's been seen some interesting player counts with Fallout 4, which recently got the new update and everything that just came out this week. So obviously Microsoft and Bethesda must be happy to see how all this attention coming to the Fallout video games, courtesy of basically the success of the Fallout TV show. And while it would have been nice to have a brand new Fallout game out at this time, whether it was like Fallout 5 and all, I would rather Bethesda take their time just to make sure they can iron things out, so when Fallout 5 does come out, it actually is a good game, and avoid the launch debacle we saw with Fallout 76, and of course other games like Cyberpunk 2077 when that originally launched. We learned that basically Bandai Namco will be doing an adaptation or a game or RPG type game based off of the anime. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. It will be getting the RPG treatment. It's going to be out, I believe it's August. I might be wrong on the date. Yeah, it's actually, I double check, it's August. So it's going to be coming to multiple systems, including the Nintendo Switch. There is a trailer out for it though, and judging from what I've seen so far, I mean, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, we've seen Bandai Namco tackle several anime licenses before, ranging from One Piece Odyssey to the Sword Art Online. So, excuse me, I might be keeping an eye out on this one, to be exact though. We also learned that Digital Eclipse will be basically doing a remake of the game Wizardry Dungeons, and that will be coming to the Nintendo Switch supposedly next month. I believe it will be coming to other systems, and I believe it's available in early access. For what I understand, this was originally a game that was released back during, like, I think the old, like, I think 80s or 70s or something, like old, like, computers and all at the time when with RPGs, and supposedly it was the inspiration for games like Final Fantasy and so forth. Though, judging by some of the footage that they showed of this remaster or remake, it looks kind of impressive and everything. Doesn't look that bad. I still have to get my hands on it when it comes out though, but supposedly it will be out next month, and that is certainly something I will be keeping an eye out for. We also learned that supposedly Deliver Us from the Moon will be basically making its way to the Nintendo Switch. It was originally canceled 4 years ago. This had to do that when the game was due to the fact that the whole COVID-19 situation basically was happening. So it kind of threw a couple of things off on there indeed. But nice to see the game has been revived. Hopefully we'll see how well it does on the Nintendo Switch and everything. We also learned that Blizzard has basically canceled BlizzCon 2024, at least basically for this year though. Remains to be seen how it's going to be for next year. It's possible they could be making some readjustments here and there. I mean, obviously, you know, Microsoft has completed their purchase of Activision Blizzard and everything, so it's possible there could be some things that they may have to change, but whatever the case may be, BlizzCon will not be happening this year, unfortunately, for those who are looking forward to it. And last but not least, we have reports that Gary Mod, the studio behind Gary Mod, is removing about supposedly 20 years of Nintendo's uploads, though, following a DMCA takedown. Basically, it seems as though Nintendo may not be happy with the fact that some of their characters are being used basically used in their games or anything that, which is, I would say, somewhat unfortunate, because there are apparently some mods, including ones where Nintendo fans are all gathering around following the passing of the late Shigeru Wada and all like, you know, sad, you know, looking at his tombstone and everything. So I'm a little mixed on Nintendo's decision, if they are the ones that filed the DMCA takedown and everything like that. Again, I understand they're very protective of their IPs, but there are times when I do feel they may go a wee bit overboard here and there. And in the movie and TV show part of the Quick My 2 Cents, we just saw a new trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine, though. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far with this one. It'll be very interesting to see what Deadpool does in the in basically the MCU, particularly him making fun of maybe possibly Kevin Feige and so forth. But I like what I'm seeing. I hope this one is good though. Hopefully it's not like what I saw with Deadpool 2, which, while not a bad movie, I just didn't feel it was as good as basically the first Deadpool movie and all. So we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. We also learned that basically there are reports coming out that basically Sony may be up for trying to buy basically Paramount and everything. This report comes on the heels that there are supposedly investors are having some issues with the idea of Paramount being bought by Skydance Entertainment and everything like that. So we'll have to wait and see if this story emerges. But supposedly there is reports coming out that neither have approached each other or anything like that. But it did lead to a situation where Paramount stock did go up when this report came out. It originally came out from the New York Times and everything like that. And recently Tech Radar has put out their story of how they feel that Sony merging with Paramount Plus could be bad news for Netflix and all. So it will be very interesting to see how this plays out. I think one of the interesting hurdles would be that supposedly Sony left the streaming wars and everything like that when they sold I think the once Crackle and everything like that, if I'm saying the name correctly. And then, of course, there's going to be the FTC, how they may not be down with the idea of Sony buying Paramount compared to what they're seeing with Skydance. But time will ultimately tell if basically this emerges or not. So we'll have to wait and see if it does officially happen. We're also learning that supposedly the success of the Fallout TV show has not only led to a lot of the games being basically doing old Fallout games doing very well, but it has led to a listenership boost in some of the soundtracks that have been played during the Fallout TV show and so forth. Some of them ranging from Johnny Cash to other singers as well. So obviously it's caught a lot of people's attention. That certainly isn't a bad thing or anything like that. We also learned that the producer of the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie is basically saying that the third movie takes a lot from Sonic Adventures 2, which is certainly interesting. It will be also interesting to see how much they do take from Sonic 2 and so forth and how much they don't. So I am kind of curious about that. We know that Shadow is certainly going to play a part in this. We know that supposedly reports are coming out that Keanu Reeves will be voicing Shadow as well, assuming this is correct. I believe it is. So I'm very curious to see how Shadow is going to play in terms of basically Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and supposedly, obviously Dr. Eggman's going to come back, but we're also going to be interested to see how he looks. There are some reports I've been hearing that he's going to be like, the fat Dr. Eggman and so forth. And last but not least, there is a report coming out that an adaptation of the Kingdom Hearts games is in the works from Disney at all. No word at this time if it will be done in a movie form, a TV show form, and whether or not it will make its way onto like Disney Plus or Hulu or anything like that, though. I'm not sure if this one will work or not, because I have always viewed the Kingdom Hearts games as basically taking Disney characters and having them sort of somewhat in the Square Enix world and everything like that. So I'm not 100% sure how this one is going to work, but time will ultimately tell whether this does see the light of day or not. And of course, we know that I think a fourth Kingdom Hearts game is also in the works as well. So for now, we know an adaptation is coming, but we don't know in what form or what capacity that adaptation might be, though. Okay, with the quick command choose sent part and the movie and TV show part now officially done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with Embracer Group. Now, everyone has probably heard the name of Embracer Group here and there. They were the studio at one point that were really buying up a lot of studios and IPs and all, building their portfolio and all. Originally, the original idea was them to resurrect THQ and turn to THQ Nordic and everything like that. And they certainly had grown over the years and everything like that, until last year when supposedly a $2 billion deal with Saudi Arabia or a firm in Saudi Arabia fell apart, if I'm saying this correctly. This led to a huge domino effect with basically an Embracer Group, though. This led to layoffs, to shutting down some studios, to even games like Time Splitter being pulled, remake of it being pulled and everything like that. And the studios got numerous backlash and was basically the butt of a lot of jokes, especially with Embracer Group and everything like that. Well, now it does seem to be that Embracer Group is taking sort of a different approach and basically is going to be split into 3 entities. Furthermore, the CEO recently has responded to a lot of the criticism that has been leveled to Embracer Group and so forth. The first one, in an article from basically from The Verge, it basically reads that, quote, Swedish game conglomerate Embracer Group announced plans Monday to split into 3 distinct game and entertainment companies: Asmodee, ASMODEE Group, Coffee Stains and Friends, and Middle-earth Enterprise and Friends. They will be separately publicly listed companies according to Embracer, which say the move will allow each entity to better focus on their respective core strategies and offer more differentiated and distance equal stories for existing and new shareholders. This move towards 3 independent companies reinforces Embracer's vision of backing entrepreneurs and creators with long-term mindset, said the CEO, co-founder of Embracer CEO. Allow them to continue to deliver unforgettable experience for games and fans across the globe. The 3 companies have, quote, basically, the 3 companies in terms of their descriptions have been, quote, Middle-earth Enterprise and Friends. This group, which will be renamed from Embracer Group, is described as a creative powerhouse in AAA game development and publishing that will retain ownership of Dead Island, Killing Floor, Kingdom Come Deliverance, which that game's currently on the Switch, and it was announced that a sequel is in the works, Tomb Raider, and Lord of the Rings IP. Asmodee Group, if I'm saying that name correctly, a new arm dedicated to publishing and distributing tabletop games. The existing catalog, including established titles like Ticket to Ride, Seven Wonders, Azul, Catan, Dubs, and Exploring Kittens. Asmodee is also developing licensed tabletop games based on the Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, and Star Wars franchise. Embracer anticipates the spin-off and shared listings will take place within 12 months. And finally, Coffee Stain and Friends, described as a diverse gaming entry that will focus on indie, mid-market, and free-to-play games. Properties sitting under this new company include Deep Rock Galactic, Goat Simulator, Satisfactor, Wreckfest, Teardown, and Valheim. The shares listings are projects to become available in 2025. As for basically the CEO, he recently made some comments about in response to basically the whole backlash that Embracer Group has gone through. From an article from GameIndustry.biz, he said, this is what he had to say. Basically, he's taken a lot of hits and criticism both internationally and in Sweden. It's been painful, he said, but I still believe in what we do. I believe in my team and my vision we set out. I also believe the public market, if we do it right, are a fantastic place to finance your business and tap into both investors and the debt market. But you need to execute it well. If you do, it could be a fantastic platform to enable growth and to really have a competitive edge and everything like that. And they also pointed out that in the DICE Award back in February, Kind of Funny CEO Greg Miller even joked on stage, one of the 2 people in the industry that don't want to hear. The Embracer Group are here, he's added. They really effed up this place, haven't they? When asked how he responded to such criticism, the CEO says, as a leader and as an owner, sometimes you need to take the blame and you need to be humble about it. You made mistakes and you could have done something differently. He continues, I'm sure I deserved a lot of the criticism, but I don't think my team or my company deserves all the criticism. I could take a lot of the blame for myself, but ultimately I need to believe in the mission we set out that is still valid. We are now able that by doing this new structure and everything like that. When asked what his mistakes were, he didn't go into specifics. It said, referencing a long list of things he and Embracer Group could have done differently, but stands by the company's overall strategy. That's what he says. Quote, in every given moment, you are making decisions you believe are right, he explains. When we were at our peak of 2020, 2021, we made all these decisions to acquire or originally set up invest, and everyone was backing that. I firmly believe in that. The outcome, because it takes a number of years to make games, it's different and painful, and we need to adapt to it. We've been trying to safeguard as many jobs as possible. We've been trying to find new homes for teams and people. It's easy to look back in hindsight on things though. He said he also confirms this, but defends the decision. Also talking about acquiring the tabletop publisher. He said, "quote It's a business I really enjoy and I like to be long-term in, but in hindsight, yes, we put on debt acquiring Asmodee, and that's been painful," he said. "I think it's too early to say what's right or wrong on this." So it does seem that Embracer Group is trying to make some changes and trying to correct the ship or not. Whether or not this is enough to change the image of Embracer Group or not, that remains to be seen. But I don't deny the fact that they have a tough hill to climb, though. I mean, I don't deny the fact that the industry was going through some tough times, especially with a lot of these layoffs and everything like that. But Embracer Group certainly did not help themselves and everything, especially when we learned how some studios were sold, some were basically, closed and everything like that. It came a criticism that they became too big and everything like that. So hopefully we'll see if Embracer Group will learn any lessons from this, though. I mean, some folks may have doubt that they will, and it's not out of the realm of possibility. We've seen studios that have made the same mistake before, claim they've learned it, but they did not. So time will ultimately tell with Embracer Group, but I will say that hopefully this change and this approach that they're taking will now make them hopefully make improvements over time for this group and everything like that. So overall, I would say very interesting that they have split into 3 different entities and everything like that. It will be very interesting to see what this means in the long term. And while it remains to be seen, it's too early to tell. I do hope that Embracer Group did learn their lesson, especially after last year when that $2 billion deal fell apart and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with rumors on the possibility that Watch Dogs, the series, might be dead and everything like that. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be talking about the Watch Dogs series and an interesting rumor that doesn't spell great news for that series at all. Now, when Watch Dogs, the original one, the first one was first revealed back then, the game at the time was supposedly basically the idea of going from the PS3 to the 360 to the PS4 and the Xbox One, although Watch Dogs was released on the PS3 and the Xbox 360 and all. However, before the game came out, there was a trailer that was showing off some of the gameplay, and it got some backlash from a lot of folks because it felt like it was a downgrade from what they had shown originally, the whole idea behind it and everything like that. And while Ubisoft tried to clarify it, the Watch Dogs was basically remembered as being the game where it was the fact that the preview build looked better than the final version. Despite that, it didn't stop the game from doing very well. To the point in 2016, they did release Watch Dogs 2, the sequel, and which got a mixed response and did okay and all. And then they tried to do something with Watch Dogs Legions and everything like that. And I think that one got a mixed response and supposedly may or may have not sold well. But recent rumors have started to pop up, at least from a leaker, that indicate that because of what they claim, because of the poor sales for Watch Dogs Legions, and that it does sound like Watch Dogs is officially dead, at least from Ubisoft and everything like that. In an article from Gamer Rent, it points out that quote, according to a prominent Ubisoft leaker, Jonathan, on Twitter, the underwhelming commercial performance of Watch Dogs Legions has led Ubisoft to cancel several projects related to the franchise, leaving Watch Dogs dead and buried. The in-development project included a reportedly fairly original Battle Royale title, suggesting Ubisoft was exploring new directions for Watch Dogs. The lack of official confirmation from Ubisoft leaves room for doubt, but warning signs dated back to 2022. YouTuber Jor Raptor, if I'm saying the name correctly, theorized in 2022 that the Watch Dogs series may have been quietly discontinued, owing to the departure and reshuffling of senior staff members associated with the development of the franchise. Ubisoft abruptly cutting off patches and content update in 2022 for Legions, just over a year since its release, adding fuel to the fire. It was speculated back then, but 2 years later, it seemed even likelihood that the IP is put on ice and everything like that. There's also some fans concerned about this. Hold on one second. Okay, there we go. My bad. There's some fans that are concerned about this, that basically this could also have an impact on other Ubisoft IPs, particularly supposedly the Far Cry series. But according to the same leaker, he said basically he's pointing out that may not be the case, that Far Cry 7 is in the works, despite the fact that Far Cry 6 got mixed response and everything like that. And supposedly sources at Insider Gaming are stating that the next installment story will focus on players rescuing their wealthy family members who have been kidnapped by a group called the Sons of Truth. There was also some rumors believing that Cillian Murphy, if I'm saying the name correctly, he played Oppenheimer in the Oppenheimer film, in the Oppenheimer movie last year, would appear in Far Cry 7, although no one knows if that is true or not. So basically, in terms of with Watch Dogs and all, it wouldn't surprise me if this rumor is true, and it is a little bit unfortunate, to be exact, though, because I think Watch Dogs did have a very interesting premise and all, in terms of being this hacker to do a lot of things. But it seems as though that some of the questionable decisions Ubisoft did, I think basically really did hurt that franchise in general. I think the Ubisoft downgrade thing may have hurted it to a certain degree. Two, I think the fact that Watch Dogs 2 didn't sell as well as Ubisoft had hoped for, and Watch Dogs Legions didn't do as well as they had originally had thought. And you could also point out, given the direction Ubisoft has been going, which has been very questionable at its best, especially with their last game, Skull and Bones, which is dubbed as quadruple A and everything like that. That didn't exactly, well, let's just say, for what I've been hearing, it isn't getting the best of response out there and all. So then, of course, you have Beyond Good and Evil 2, and that has been, God knows what's happening with that game and everything like that. So it's really a shame if this report's true, though, because I think the idea behind Watch Dogs isn't bad, but yeah, I think somehow Ubisoft finds more than one way to screw up their IPs. Although they did release Prince of Persia, I think, The Lost Crown, and that seemed to have gotten a very positive response and everything like that. So maybe over time they'll revive the IP, maybe reboot it, maybe try to figure out a way to make it work. Maybe Ubisoft should stop focusing so heavily on AAA or quadruple A, as the CEO likes to point it out, and maybe try to strike a balance between doing some AAA experience and maybe doing some AA experience or smaller titles like that Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown game and everything like that. So overall, if assuming this rumor is true, it's very sad to hear that Watch Dogs has been put on ice and everything like that. Very unfortunate, though. Maybe at some point down the road, Ubisoft will find a way to revive it. But for right now, assuming what this Ubisoft leaker is saying is true, it doesn't look like we'll be hearing from see a new entry of the video game for Watch Dogs anytime soon. Although supposedly the movie is somewhat in the works and everything like that, and supposedly they did get a writer or a director or something. So time will tell how that plays out and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with supposedly a report coming out of how Samus Aran almost made it into Fortnite to a certain extent. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be talking about Samus Aran, and at one point could have made an appearance in Fortnite and everything like that. Now, Nintendo has been known, they have done collaborations before in the past, though, with, other game developers and so forth. We've seen that with their relationship with Bandai Namco, with them helping out in the Mario Kart series with Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Even had, I think a Mario Kart arcade game with basically, I think, had characters like Pac-Man make an appearance, to even helping out with the development of the Super Smash Bros. Series. And we've also seen, Nintendo collaborate, with companies like Koei Tecmo, whether it's have them help and work out on, say, like, the Fire Emblem series, to even taking, some of their characters and using them in the Warriors formula, like we saw with Hyrule Warriors and Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, to Fire Emblem, Fire Emblem Warriors and Fire Emblem Three Hopes and all. So Nintendo has been known to do collaborations with other companies before. But at the same time, Nintendo has also been very known to be extremely protective of their IPs. And I've said this before in the past. Sometimes I think they're in the right, and sometimes I think it's a little bit overboard at times. This one, I can see the argument for why some might view this as them going maybe a bit overboard. And this has to do with the game Fortnite, though, the free-to-play battle royale game that really, blew up back in the days. I mean, it's still very popular now, it's still being played, but I don't know if it has the same kind of oomph when it originally came out. And for that game, we have seen different crossovers, whether it's, Street Fighter characters, whether it's, other characters here and there, though, to even, some like Sony bringing, Aloy from the Horizon series, Kratos from the God of War, to even Master Chief making it in, though. But it seems as though with Nintendo, that to them kind of is sort of a bridge too far, as they don't feel like they don't want to go that kind of route in terms of putting, a character like Samus Aran or any Nintendo character, despite it would be interesting to see them in Fortnite and everything like that. In an article from Nintendo Life, it reads basically, quote, "It's been known for some time now that how the Fortnite developers would like to do a crossover with Nintendo, and there's even been some leaked internal documents revealing how Epic Games had Samus Aran from the Metroid series in its sights. Now, in a new interview with Game Files, Epic's former Chief Officer Donald Mustard, if I'm saying the name correctly, has revealed that the company apparently had held talks with Nintendo about adding Samus to Fortnite as a skin, but Nintendo essentially wanted her to remain a Switch exclusive. This is what he had to say as part of this interview. Quote, Nintendo, got really hung up on their characters showing up on the platforms that wasn't their platforms. They would be thrilled to have Nintendo characters in Fortnite, but just only if it's on their platform. Unfortunately, talks fell through after this, as Epic wanted Fortnite to remain the same experience across all platforms, no matter screen or device you played on, and the skin for Master Chief and Kratos were already available were available to everyone. Fortnite developer mentioned last year how Nintendo would be the biggest crossover even if it got green light, though. Now, as I said before, I get the fact that Nintendo wants to, protect their IP. They want to use their IP as a way to lure you into their ecosystem and play, their games and everything like that. But at the same time, I do feel on Nintendo's side, this is somewhat of a missed opportunity to a certain degree and everything like that. I also am somewhat iffy about their statement about this, considering the fact that Sony was willing to put, Kratos in God of War despite what system you own. You saw, Microsoft has been did that with Halo Master Chief, regardless of what system you're doing it on, especially considering the fact that Microsoft has been bringing the whole argument about exclusives not being as relevant as they once were. Debatable depending on who you're asking this question towards, though. But if a company like Sony and Microsoft are willing to put their IPs in a game like Fortnite despite it being on their competitive system, I just think it seems a little bit, it just seems a bit strange that Nintendo wouldn't do such a thing. I mean, I get the fact that they want to protect their IP and bring people to buy their system, but I can't help but feel that this is sort of a missed opportunity on their part to be able to promote maybe a character that isn't as well known as compared to, say, like, you know, how Mario and Link are well known, to be exact. So I just feel like to some degree it's a missed opportunity for them, though. I mean, maybe at some point down the road they'll change their mind and everything like that, but knowing Nintendo, they can be very extremely protective, and sometimes stubborn. Again, sometimes I think they're in the right on some cases, and other times I think they are basically wrong, though. So overall, I feel like it is a bit unfortunate that the developers of Fortnite did not manage to get Samus Aran in their game and everything like that, though. And as I said before, yes, I get it. It's Nintendo's IP. They are very protective of their IP. But there are times when I think they can go a little bit overboard and to some extent miss an opportunity. And I do feel to a certain degree this may have been one of those opportunities that they may have missed and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part. And this one has to do with some new information about the rumored Switch 2, or supposedly what might be ranging from what could be in the system to perhaps a different approach with the Joy-Cons and everything. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of my 2 cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be talking about the Switch 2 or the Switch successor, as some new information, or at least rumor, has started to pop up. Now, ever since, as we've gone through with 2023 and 2024, more information about the Switch successor or what Nintendo's next system might be has started to pop up, here and there. There were reports that it was shown behind closed doors at Gamescom, although Nintendo has denied that. Video Game Chronicles has come out and collaborated, claiming that it was accurate and everything like that. To even earlier this year, as there were a report coming out that the system may not come out this year, it may come out in 2025, which, while nothing's official, it's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities, to even what the system might be or everything like that, to maybe powering with the rumored T239 chip, to basically having DLSS in some form, in some capacity, though. Well, new rumors have started to pop out that basically points out what we could expect not only from the inside, but basically on the outside as well, as there may be that if you're thinking about the possibility of using your old Joy-Cons for the Switch 2, it sounds like, assuming this rumor is true, that may not be the case and everything like that. Both of these come from Inside Gaming, and it points out basically two informations. In terms of what's being used inside, the reports being claimed that it's going to be using Samsung components, though. According to this article from Inside Gaming, it reads, quote, "More information about the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 continues to leak out, this time about the components used for the console. According to Business Korea, the Nintendo Switch 2, or whatever the system will be called, will be built primarily with Samsung components. The report states that Samsung Foundry will build the SoC, system on chip, for the console. It expected to be NVIDIA's Tegra T239 chip, manufactured via Samsung 7LPH process node. In addition, the 5th generation VNAND storage will be used for both the internal memory and the game cartridge memory. Lastly, it was said that Samsung beat out multiple companies based in China to be the official display provider for the Nintendo Switch 2, though. On top of that, another report has come out from a Spanish website called Van Dread. So supposedly this site was the one that also leaked out, at least got some parts right about the so-called Switch OLED that Nintendo released and everything like that. Anyway, continue on. It says, quote, according to the Smash website, which has reportedly received information from the console manufacturers, the Nintendo Switch 2 will have Joy-Cons similar to its predecessor. The website states that the new Switch 2 Joy-Cons will connect to the screen via magnet strips. The website states that this means compatibility with the standard Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons are not possible, but will be possible with the Pro Controller of the current Nintendo Switch. According to the website, the information comes from manufacturers who have been able to touch the new Nintendo console and all. The website also outlines that Nintendo Switch will be released in spring 2025, which is a date that's already been frequently rumored. Brazilian journalist, a Brazilian journalist who has successfully leaked Nintendo's announcement in the past, said that the reveal of the successor of the Nintendo Switch is scheduled for June 2024. So in terms of the components though, for the inside though, kind of interesting to see that NVIDIA actually won the bid for all this and everything like that. I'm hoping with this though, this means that we can basically avoid one of the problems we see with the Switch, which is, you get the cartridge, but you have to download the rest of the game or anything like that. Or maybe, developers not cheaping out and getting the smallest possible file size for these cartridges and all. Again, we don't know if that will be the case with the Switch 2, but hopefully whatever this means with this 5th generation VNAND storage for the game cartridge memories, this could hopefully fix that problem, to be exact though. Again, we don't know, but we'll have to wait and see about that. As far as the controller and the Joy-Cons though, assuming this is true and everything like that, it is somewhat a little bit unfortunate that you're not going to be able to use your old Joy-Cons and everything like that, considering the amount of Joy-Cons that have been out there, including ones that are like custom made and all, or ones that are used to promote a game and everything like that. So it is definitely unfortunate though, but at the same time, I am curious to see how this Joy-Con will work via magnet strip and everything like that. So it's going to be very interesting to see if this report is true. However, one part, if correct though, I'm certainly very pleased to hear this, is that it does look like we will be able to use the Pro Controller that we have for, the Nintendo Switch. That certainly, assuming this is true, that certainly is a good thing, indeed, to be able to use that for backwards, to use that as, backwards compatibility and everything like that for the next system and everything like that. I don't doubt in my mind they'll probably release a Switch 2 Pro controller, but it's still nice if basically the fact that we could still use our original Pro controller and all. I mean, I've had my Pro controller since, when the system launched in 2017, and it still works fine. It still holds up well and everything like that, which is pretty amazing. I mean, obviously Nintendo did a good job with basically, in terms of design of the Pro controller and so forth and all. So overall, obviously these are rumors. We don't know 100% how accurate that they are. So pretty much take this stuff with a grain of salt. But assuming this is true, assuming these rumors are correct, I do hope with Samsung helping out or putting out this new thing for the internal memory and the game cartridge memory though, hopefully this will fix one of the problems the Switch has had, where some developers have, put part of the game into the cartridge and you have to download the rest, kind of a situation. It will be interesting to see how this magnet strip with the Joy-Cons works and all. Hopefully they can address the Joy-Con drift that some folks have experienced, to the fact that basically with the fact that we can use our old Pro controller, that certainly is nice and all. So again, these are just rumors, so a grain of salt needs to be taken with them, like I said before. But if they are true, then there are some goods out of this and some negatives, depending on how you want to look at it, though. Okay, this concludes this my 2 cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Embracer Group splitting into 3 different entities and all? Do you think this is a smart move on Embracer Group's part? Do you think this is a dumb move? Do you think they'll learn anything after what happened last year when that $2 billion deal fell apart? What are your thoughts about reports of the possibility that the Watch Dogs series is pretty much dead or put on ice at this time? Do you think this report is accurate though? Do you think Ubisoft kind of screwed it up with the Watch Dogs series though? Do you think it's possible maybe they could revive it at some point down the road or anything like that? What are your thoughts about basically the possibility that, Samus Aran could have been in Fortnite or everything like that though? Would you have liked to have seen Samus Aran in Fortnite and everything? Do you think Nintendo was right to have, in order to access the Samus Aran skin, you can only play it on the Switch version of Fortnite? Or do you think they were wrong and they should have gone what Sony and Microsoft did, where they put their IPs into Fortnite regardless of which system you were playing Fortnite on, to be exact? And what are your thoughts about these latest rumors about the Switch 2? Do you think the idea of using some of the components from Samsung is a good idea? Do you think it could address, the game cartridge issue that some folks that we saw with the original Switch, where some developers would do you have to download the rest of the game, or there's only one game in the cartridge, or basically very, very little information in the cartridge? And what about basically with the idea of you can't use your old Joy-Cons though? Do you think that's a smart move on Nintendo side? Do you think it's a dumb move on Nintendo side? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video, so if you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!